They're changing the face of Tottenham. This famous old stand will be knocked down after Wednesday night's game against Crystal Palace, so this is the last time you'll see it looking this way, with its season ticket holders, its director's box, its press box and dressing rooms, and in its place by the end of next year they'll have built a £3 million replacement. No replacements needed in the Tottenham team today, though. It's the one that beat Arsenal 1-0 in the Football League Cup last Tuesday with a goal by Osvaldo Ardiles. But there's no doubt who's made most impact lately with his goal-scoring efforts. It's the Scotsman Steve Archibald, who is the top scorer at Tottenham this season with 9, including 4 in the last 3 games. Goal-scoring has been something of a problem for Wolves. They've scored only 16 in 18 games this season, and with Andy Gray still missing, they might have a problem again today. They're also without defenders Jeff Palmer, suspended, and Derek Clark in a broken toe. Emlyn Hughes is out, Willie Carr is the sub. But at least all this gives a first chance for 19-year-old defender Mick Holyfield, who joined the club 3 years ago and has been playing well in the reserves. And here's Rafael Villazan. He's from Uruguay, and with Ardiles and Villa of Argentina also on the field, well, at least he should feel pretty much at home today. Miller, the long ball forward. This time Crooks is onside. Hoddle's up there with him, and here's Crooks. This could be danger for Wolves. And a penalty given. Crooks brought down, and a penalty given. And I must say that Mike Taylor had not the slightest hesitation. Here he goes through now. And indeed a penalty quite justifiably given there. It was the Uruguayan Villazan who brought Crooks down. And a chance for Hoddle to give Tottenham a lead as we come towards the quarter hour. 1-0. Glenn Hoddle's 8th of the season. Sending Bradshaw the wrong way, and Brazier, 6'1.5" of him, standing there at the near post. Might well be the main that he aims for. Indeed it was, for the little flick back, but Lacey was there. Knocked back in there, goal! Atkinson for Wolverhampton Wanderers, which silences the Tottenham crowd, and all beginning with that corner, in fact, flicked on and then knocked out, and Atkinson turning it back in to make it 1-1. So Spurs, after looking as though they might well get the upper hand decisively in this game in the opening half hour, find themselves back at 1-1. And Hugh Atkinson, the scorer there for Wolves. Brazier long and high, but Lacey getting it away for Tottenham. Hoddle onside. A good decision by the linesman. Crooks well onside. Ardiles up supporting him. Crooks! What an amazing goal, because he ran half the length of the field before he beat Bradshaw. And Bradshaw must have wondered whether the pass inside was coming in for Ardiles, who'd made ground, and Archibald had made ground. It's Hoddle who gets Crooks on his way. As you can see, no more than 2 or 3 yards inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers half. And there's just that little bit of a gap there. Oh, and he puts it under the man. Hoddle. Perryman played back again for Hoddle, back again for Perryman. And, well, it was Perryman's tenacity that won that ball after it looked to have been lost. Smith. Hoddle again. Finding Villa. Oh! Well, that's his speciality. He had a blasting shot on Tuesday night against Arsenal that was disallowed, and that was another great shot with an economy of effort, it seemed, curling away from Bradshaw, grasping hands and just wide of the post. And there goes the half-time whistle, and there's no question that Wolves really have been on the receiving end for most of the first half, and there's no question too that John Barnwell, their manager, has got to go off to that dressing room and sort 1 or 2 things out. They've looked so vulnerable in defence, and it was the penalty by Glenn Hoddle, the number 10, who got them on their way, and the number 8 going down there, Hugh Atkinson, who equalised for Wolves. And then, of course, Garth Crooks, number 11, going in there with that marvellous solo run that put Spurs 2-1 into the lead. The surprising thing is that they haven't stretched that lead to at least 3 or 4. So half-time score then here at White Hart Lane. It's Tottenham Hotspur 2, Wolves 1. Oh, did well there, Humphrey. Under pressure from Crooks, turned it here and found Daniel. The long ball here. And it could be a chance now for Richards. And he's made it 2-2. Oh, what an amazing sequence of events there. Wolves, having sorted themselves out at half-time, looked a much better bet in the second half so far. And when in the first half it looked as though they were totally out of it, now suddenly they've pulled it back to 2-2, which was the score here last year. Lacey couldn't quite reach this one, and it gave Richards that chance as Danes came out, and the ball just crossing the line there before John Lacey could get to it. Spurs 2, Wolves 2, 12 minutes of the second half gone, and John Richards has made it that score at 2-2. Now can Spurs find that third goal, or will the pendulum continue to swing Wolverhampton's way? It's an amazing transformation after that first half where Spurs dominated to such a degree that it was almost embarrassing. But they've sorted themselves out well, but here's Crooks on the run again for Tottenham, and Spurs with the throw. Relieved John Barnwell, and Richie Barker on the right, his assistant. Hasn't had much played down this right-hand side for him in this second half rather, as Hoddle. But equally, it's true that with this man Kenny Hibbett, and he's played it back there for Crooks. And here's Archibald over the top. Well, I was about to say how much more formidable Wolves had looked in the back four since Hibbett had gone in there, and then he goes and does this. A ball played far too short there for Bradshaw. Crooks quite couldn't get the touch to it, and Archibald, when he could, well, it was too firm a touch and was way over. Well, I was just, as I say, going to say that Hibbett had made a difference in that back four, and he very nearly made it 3-2 for Tottenham. Perryman, Ardiles. You still get the impression that this is a game that Spurs could win, but also that it might be a bit difficult than it was in the first half. Hoddle, just wide. Nicked off the post, in fact. Ardiles holding off his man there. The flick to Hoddle, bringing it on to the left foot here, and I think it may just have clipped off the post. And there's a final whistle, and it depends which way you look at it. I'm sure Keith Birkinshaw, the Spurs manager, says that's one we tossed away. And I'm sure John Barnwell, who was just behind him, thinks, well, that's one that we sorted ourselves out. Look at the broad, beaming smile there of John Barnwell. We sorted ourselves out at half-time, and my word, we had to fight and eventually got the point. He's giving a word of praise there to young John Humphrey. And indeed, Willie Carr in the midfield had such a tremendous influence on Wolves in that second half, as did Kenny Hibbett, apart from one or two of those back passes when he went into the back four. It was an altogether different proposition that Spurs faced in the second half, but they should have reaped a rich reward from their dominance in the first. So Hoddle and Crooks the scorers then for Tottenham, Atkinson and Richards for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and a final score then here at White Hart Lane. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Wolves 2.